Hey folks, my name's Mason. You're listening to All Aboard the Dream Train, a dream storytelling podcast where stories and adventures created by the unconscious brain are retold by the waking brain. Hey folks, today is July 28th. It's a super sunny day out here in Portland. Welcome, and I wanted to thank you again for listening in. Today's story comes from Max. Max is 36. He lives in Arizona and has been having a recurring dream since he was a kid. As you'll hear in his story, Max still can't quite put a finger on where the dream comes from or what it means. And I think that's okay. I think dreams are a work in progress, and sometimes they just are. They don't always have to make sense, and I think that's what makes them fun. I mean, if we knew the answers to every dream that we had, they wouldn't be any fun to talk about. Also, at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a few tips that will help you either get to sleep quicker or sleep longer. Me personally, I know I don't get enough sleep, and the sleep that I do get isn't that great. So I'm definitely going to be implementing some of the tips that I'm going to give you into my own schedule. But if you have an interest in more information on getting better sleep and how it affects your dreams, you should do yourself a favor. Go check out any of the talks by Dr. Matthew Walker. There's one episode on a podcast called Found My Fitness. That's put on by Rhonda Patrick. She has a PhD in biomedical science from the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. Her podcast is fantastic. If you're trying to be more health conscious, go check her out. You can also hear Dr. Matthew Walker talk on the Joe Rogan Experience, episode 1109. It's a fantastic episode as well. There's a part on there where he talks about the effects of the lack of sleep and working a graveyard shift. I did that for 7 years, so I feel like I got a lot of catching up to do. I'll make sure and put those episodes in the show notes so you can find them easily. And lastly, keep your eyes open on my Instagram and Facebook accounts. All Aboard the Dream Train, all one word. Instead of giving Instagram and Facebook my money to promote, I'm going to be giving away some dream journals and drawstring backpacks with the podcast logo on it. So keep an eye out. There will be more information coming soon. I really kind of want to gear people up for October, where I'm going to be doing Sober October. So no booze for the month of October. If you would like to participate, that's cool. Let me know. If not, that's cool too. During the whole month, I really want to focus on self-care, getting more sleep, paying much closer attention to my dreams in my dream journal. I also want to experiment with some nootropics and a few plant supplements that are supposed to help with lucid dreaming and dreaming in general. When I get that list together, I will definitely share it. But I've done it the last few years in a row. Whatever sober means to you, you can kind of make up your own rules. There's no set rules to it. You'll feel a lot better. You owe it to yourself. It won't hurt you to take a month off, and you won't be doing it alone. All right, I'm done babbling. I'll shut up now. Let's get to today's story.
All aboard! Absolutely, yeah, I'm Max. I'm 36, last I checked. And I am presently in Phoenix, Arizona.
Very cool. What kind of hobbies or passions do you have?
I do like podcasting and stuff. This is the first time I've been a guest on a podcast, so
cool.
Thanks for that too.
For sure.
And so I make one called I Like People, and I just interview people about questions to save humanity.
Awesome.
Because I think that we can do that probably. And on the side, I am a cartoonist, so I make a long form webcomic, and it has music video interludes. And I finished the first one 2 years ago, and I'm working to finish the second one by the end of this year.
Nice. How long does it? How long did that take to get the first one completed?
It took far too long, 5 years. But I was animating alone, so I'm trying to make it easy on myself this time. There's not really voice acting and background music. It's just a straight up music video. So there's just a song and it's animation. So that's easier to do than like a cartoon.
Damn. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it can only get easier from here on out, right?
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so.
So I'm gonna dive into these sleep questions. What helps you relax or rewind at the end of the day?
Well, I would say that I can't probably do stuff on screens too close to bed, so I'll probably like put a screen away. Um, I did install Lux, that thing that automatically dims your screen to like sienna colors, and so it's not as, I don't know. For some reason, they say that if it's not as blue, it doesn't like wake you up at night. But I think just conversation, reading,
Hmm.
and just trying not to, yeah, just trying not to do too many screens. Although I do admit that like lately, my partner and I have been binge watching Star Trek Voyager, which is itself a terribly boring show. So in a way, that has been helping me
Nice.
lately.
Fair, man. Fair enough. Whatever gets it done, right?
Yeah.
So, other than Star Trek Voyager, do you have any sleep aids? Do you have any like sleep masks? Is there anything that your go to when you need to go to sleep?
If I'm having trouble and it's not multiple nights in a row, I can use this oil. It's like an essential oil. It's called, I think it's called Good Night or something like that. And I just crack open the lid or put a drop somewhere, and it's relaxing. It smells a little like citrus, but I
Huh.
don't know why that works for me. But if I use it too many nights in a row, it doesn't work. So, but like if I use it the first night, it's great. I just pass out.
How do you spell
Let
it?
me see if I have it right here.
Okay.
It's oh yeah, here it is. It's called Good Night, and night is spelled Nite,
Okay.
and it's Nature's Truth brand aromatherapy. So I don't really prescribe these or anything. I'm just experimenting with them for my own
Does it have
hobby.
Yeah, does it have any like ingredients in there, like a main ingredient?
I would say lavender and tangerine and bergamot, and then some others as well.
Cool. I'll have to do a little more research on that. Huh. So it does like there's a tolerance though at some point.
It for me, that's how it works. And I think my partner said the same thing. Like the first time she tried it, she passed out, but like if she used it 2 or 3 nights, it didn't work at all, or even
Wow.
had an opposite effect. So I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Okay, so my next question, do you share your bed or do you have it all to yourself?
I have it all to myself. So far, that's pretty much the only way I can sleep. I've tried, we've tried king size beds. That'll probably work for us once we get a good bed. But
Yeah,
presently, I really enjoy just having a single, just so I can kick and punch without hurting my partner. And
that's fair. And how many hours of sleep on average would you say do you get?
I'm gonna sound really spoiled. 9 or 10, maybe. I
Nice.
tried. I try. I try to get 8. I usually get 9.
Nice.
I love sleep.
It's good for you, man. That's very solid. Then is it consistent or is it broken up? Do you wake up a few times or is it like once you put your head down, that's it?
If I'm having a good stint, I'd say I wake up very seldom just to use the restroom.
Nice.
But if something is bothering me, or I had a dream that's like telling me something too important about my real life,
Hmm.
then I might have to get up and pace, eat something, sit around in the dark for half an hour. But then usually that helps, and then I'm back to bed.
Are you a light sleeper or are you easily woken up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'm a lighter sleeper than I was. I used to be able to sleep through. Well, it actually depends. I will
Okay.
completely pass out through a thunderstorm. I like it. But if it's a distant lawnmower starting up, for some reason I'll just wake up. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lastly, last question. Your favorite sleeping position?
I really, really like sleeping on my back. I think that if I could fall asleep that way, I would. But for whatever reason, I usually can't fall asleep laying on my back. I have to start on my side, and then usually I wake up on my back.
What do you think it is about sleeping on your trying to fall asleep on your back?
I think it's the temperature. It's like I tend to run hot, like a higher body temperature, and then I need to retain that and like slowly cool down. And if I'm just laying there, I feel like if I'm not bundled up or like piled in pillows and blankets or something, that I lose body temperature too quickly. So then
Hmm.
I just become uncomfortable or something. I honestly don't know. That's my best guess.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Usually don't fall asleep on my back either.
Yeah, maybe it's a thing that people don't do that because I think most people probably just crash on their side
Hmm.
or or just go straight in, just dive right on their stomach. But I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of just turn it over to you now. Kind of give a quick preface of what type of dream it is,
Okay,
and then the dream, and then your takeaway from that dream.
I'm gonna talk about a recurring dream I had since I was single digits. I think probably I want to say 5 or 6 is the earliest I've had this dream, and I had it often. I don't know. It felt like at least once a year for years, sometimes more than once a year. Sometimes I think a couple days or nights in a row. Maybe early on it was more in a row, and then I didn't have it for a long time, and then I had it like once, smack dab in the middle of my 20s, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird," and then never had it again. It went like this. I'm in my bed. I'm not yet aware that I am in a dream. I just think I'm in bed. And then I realize that I have one of a few things, either a flying carpet, the bed itself is magically floating, or like a sheet from it, or like I have the capability of just floating. And I I just go out my room, and this is at my mom's apartment a long time ago. Uh, and she just had, it was a hallway that led from the main door to the stairwell and then to the living room, her room, my room, and then the bathroom. So I would just come out my room and go down the hallway, and I'm thinking, this is great, this is fantastic. Every single time I fall for it. Every single time I'm like, this is the greatest thing. I'm floating. I'm going to go anywhere I want. And as I pass by her sleeping, I'm like, this is cool. All right. I'm gonna go out this door. I'll be right back, you know. She won't miss me, even though I'm like a young kid disappearing. And every time I get to the door, at the height of my excitement, I pass through the door. And when I go through the door, I suddenly get this electric chill. Um, like I'm entering a very emotionally dangerous area, and these entities show up. They have like Q-tip shaped heads is how I would describe them,
Hmm.
and they have long tails, or like they're like spirit beings of some kind. And I remember them. They're kind of vaguely glowing white blue, maybe,
Okay.
when I can see them.
Hmm.
Variations of this dream, I can see them or not see them, but there's always these voices, and there's this electric chill and this very insulting attitude from them. Like, and the message that they would always give me is something along the lines of, "Haha, you're human, and you're gonna get really caught up in a human life. You're gonna forget." I don't know what they're saying. I'm gonna forget, but they're saying
Hmm.
you're gonna get really wrapped up in being a person. And for some reason that's like some big victory for them. They think that's hilarious,
Hmm.
that I've become a person, and I've incarnated as a person, maybe, um and that's going to drag me down, or make me all emotionally invested in this life, and forget some reality. But I fight back, and with my words, and sometimes I just come up with this argument like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This is fine, or I'm having a fine life, or you have to be more specific about what your accusation is.
Hmm.
And I wake up before I can make the argument,
Hmm.
or just as I'm making it. It's like when you think of something someone said that's mean, and then days later you're like, I should have said this. But then other times I actually do say something, and it's like profoundly humbling to them, and they like scatter, or like don't know how to handle that energy or something weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I wake up and I feel like this sense of victory. So it's,
Wow.
I would wake up with either this sense of like defeat, like, dang, I wish I could have talked to them, and why can't I access them except in this dream? And then other times I'm like, yeah, I really told them. And to be honest, I have no fucking clue what the significance of this dream is to my life. I've never really put it in. I've never been able to connect it to anyone I know, or any group I know, or any
Right.
or anything really that connects to my life. I've 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 read abduction stories, and I've thought, oh, I guess it's vaguely related to like alien abduction fantasies,
Interesting.
but I don't have any. As far as I know, that didn't happen to me. It was just a dream. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't really know how to interpret it.
Hmm. How many times would you say from like single digits to 20? I think you said, but I mean
Yeah,
total.
I'd say I've had this dream. It could be 100 times, and I've only ever had one other recurring dream that I remember, and it was only like 2 or 3 times.
Hmm.
So I don't know why this dream, and then why in my mid 20s it was just like evaporated, or if I'm going to have it again,
Right.
I just don't know, or if I have had it again and just started forgetting it. It's hard to say.
That's a lot of times to have that dream. But I mean more like way more than 20 or whatever for sure.
Yes. Well, because sometimes I felt like I was having it every night for like several nights, and
Wow.
then it would go away again. So it's just
Do you remember any details from the rug
yeah. I mean, the
colors?
rug, when it's a rug, it's
Mhm.
like a smallish, a red rug with a pattern that looks like it's either from a Middle Eastern country, or maybe a Native American, or maybe an East Indian.
Hmm.
But I remember at least one reddish color, and that might be related to rugs that my father had, um,
Interesting.
them being separated. But I'm not sure.
Did it have like the ruffles at the end, kind of like the Aladdin type rug?
It's like the kind of rug where there's, yeah, like ruffles like all along one edge, but you might see the two short edges have the strings, and then the other edges don't, maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
But other times I'm just floating on nothing.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we can all relate to having that experience where we think of the perfect thing to say in rebuttal, like a few days later.
Yeah.
You're like, damn it, that would have been the best. Like that really, really would have defeated that person. That's a really funny, I guess, phenomena or whatever you want to call it.
Maybe another aspect of it that you're making me think of is that in real life, I'm far too polite or cowardly to ever try to like deliver a retort.
Hmm.
Um, but in my dream world, it's like crucially important that I stand up for myself in this way. Take that how you want. I don't know.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with like some some of the dreams that I've had where it was more or less like me sticking up for myself, like you said. But people would like take things from me or
Hmm.
um, chase me, and like there was no way of getting away. And like waking up in those dreams, you kind of just ask yourself, why couldn't I achieve what I wanted to achieve,
Yeah.
And it's just such a defeating feeling when you wake up.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I guess I can happily say that when I do wake up, it's pretty exciting because it's like, oh, thank goodness I'm not, that's just a dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's also strange. It's one of the dreams that I don't realize that it's a dream while in the dream. Many other dreams I have lucid, like I just start, oh, this is a dream. I'm just gonna float. This is great. But that dream, I don't realize it's a dream until the end.
Hmm. Do you have you had any other dreams with a rug involved?
No, not that I can think of.
But flying is definitely something you've done before.
Yes, lots of flying.
Hmm.
Not so much floating as in the recurring dream. It was more like a video game where you're on a track, and you can control it a little bit, but you're gonna go through certain things. Like I'm gonna go through this door. But in the flying dreams that are ordinary, I'll just do whatever. Like I'll just take a run and jump and fly, or it's like total freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But this dream isn't.
Interesting. So your other ones are more like a free roam, kind of do what you want type thing.
Yeah, I've been able to manifest stuff too. When I first was able to do it, this is just shows you the kind of person I was, I guess, as a teenager. I was like, I'm gonna make an extra tall can of Coca-Cola up here, and I'm gonna drink it. And I was on a bus, and I made it appear, and I drew it to my hand like a Jedi Master, and then prepared to open it. That was pretty silly.
Take that, mom and dad.
Right. So silly.
That's awesome.
Now I can't drink soda. I just find it gross. But at the time, it was like a big achievement.
It's the jam, man. It's the treat.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I mean, if you got plenty of time, if you want to go into anything else, I guess you didn't really have much of a takeaway with that dream. It kind of was, it was what it was. It was either the victory or the defeat.
Yeah, maybe that is what it's about. Maybe it is about some kind of achievement. Mm-hmm. If anyone has any interpretation for me and they're listening to this podcast, yeah, maybe you should contact Mason and let him know what this means.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to hear what other people say for sure. Any other dreams that kind of stick out at you?
I do have one that I'm not sure if I'm ready to share that one with
That's
the
fair.
world yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is. It's that other recurring dream.
No problem, man. Would you say you're a heavy dreamer? Like, do you dream a lot? Because I know some people are like, man, I have like one or whatever. Some people just don't as much,
Yeah, that's true. I remember my dreams, and I dream very frequently. And I remember in college, we were keeping dream journals for a class, and I was sharing my dreams, and my professor just was like shaking his head. You did not have that dream. that is not even a dream that people have. He was just laughing. I was like, no, I'm not making it up. Like I don't know. It was just stuff about. I guess I just get very lost in the dream worlds. I'll be focusing on something very specific and particular about a cushion that's been nailed to a wall, or I don't know, like a person that I've never met, that doesn't even exist as far as I know, or exists in some other world, and they have all this personality that doesn't feel like it's a part of me. So I feel like I live this other life for sure. This dream world, it's so weird.
I know what I was going to ask you. Books. What kind of stuff do you read?
Well, lately, okay, I've been reading about 2012 and how certain cultures in South America had created a Pleiades sun zenith worshipping or focused practice, and that's about possibly cycles of humanity that are out of our control that happen just from just the fact the way we're moving in in space or in existence.
Hmm.
These cycles that happen. I think that in Hindu Indians, Hindi Indians
Hmm.
say it's like the Kali Yuga cycle.
Interesting.
And then there's one about Chinatowns in America, written by Bonnie Tu. Tui. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
How do you spell it?
Tsui.
Okay.
I'm also reading one about the Tikopia, which is a Polynesian tribe. It's an anthropological study on their society, and it's curious because the writer is very European and writing from a very European standpoint. And as much as he tries to put himself with the tribe, it just seems so lacking and seems so white frame that I'm like, I wish I could interview like an actual Tikopia man that he's talking to, or an old grandma that he's talking to there, or something. And then I'm reading the Gore Vidal series about America. I'm on Washington D.C., which I think takes place after um, World War One, at least.
Did you read a lot when you were younger?
When I was younger, I mostly read science fiction.
Goosebumps?
Yeah, I remember Goosebumps.
Dude, Goosebumps were the jam.
Yeah, Goosebumps were good.
They were really good, dude.
So freaky.
Yeah.
Wow. Monster Blood. That was a good one. Kind of like the Blob, this unstoppable force.
Yeah, the Abominable Snowman. That one really stuck with me for some reason.
I can
I'm gonna have to
understand.
I'm gonna have to dig one of those out and read it again.
That reminds me of a series I read too. Dunk and Amos. I think there were these two kids. They would get into weird paranormal trouble. I think one of them accidentally discovered a time portal to the Civil War era through a mirror in a changing room,
Hmm.
and other silly things.
Awesome. Do you have anything else to add in closing?
I guess I just have questions for you. I want to know, what's a dream that you've had?
Um, so I do go into one that had a pretty big impact on me. I do tell it in the first introduction episode, but in a nutshell, me and like three other friends, a group of friends, and we were in this like industrial area. There was like uh, broken down like buildings that were like crumbling and like very industrial. There was like train tracks,
Hmm.
and it was like the sun was setting, and we were just like kind of hanging up there and like partying and just like kind of just being to ourselves and doing what kids do. And long story short, we see some people off in the distance and they're walking towards us. And as they get closer, they're like authority figures. And soon it becomes apparent that they're walking towards us to confront us. And we had like beer and like weed with us. So we were kind of at the point where like, okay, it's time to like hide this. And, you know, we're not doing anything wrong really.
Yeah.
So they get up to us, and then the mood changes from like, hey, we're just like hanging out. And then there's, they start like accusing us of, there's like a group of people that were like killed or murdered. And it goes from like us getting in trouble possibly for just hanging out up there to like we were the ones that that killed these people or had, you know, whatever to do with
Oh, I read your dream. Didn't you write it on Reddit too?
yeah.
Okay, yes, I remember this post.
And then the lady, there's a lady, and she's like digging through our car, and like I just had this like feeling of, I mean, you could either let them take advantage of you and like take this blame, or, you don't have to do that. And I grabbed a tire iron out of the trunk as she was like bent over, like, and I just like bashed her over the head. Like,
oh, good heavens.
But she like represented bad things. She was,
she was trying to ruin your life, basically.
Yeah. She was abusing her power. And there was no evidence, so I like knew deep down, like she was in the wrong. Like we weren't completely innocent, but we weren't doing anything. We had nothing to do with these people that were killed, which there was no evidence of at all anyways. So,
wow.
It had a pretty big impact on me. I got a tattoo. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a tire iron.
Oh my gosh.
It's got like teeth and an eyeball like flying out. But yeah, it had a pretty big impact on me. That's like the main dream. When people ask me, that's the go-to.
Wow.
But there's a lot more. I can send you a link to the text. I felt great when I woke up. It was like it was like insane, like how good I felt. Like it was so much like weight lifted off my shoulders. It was pretty crazy. It was wild.
Wow, that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. It sounds like dreams are, at least for you and I, can be kind of healing or cathartic or something.
They definitely are, man. I'm going to be releasing an episode soon that is like the epitome of a healing dream. It's a really powerful story. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I really liked what I heard of this podcast.
That really means a lot to me, man. It's good to hear that people are interested in listening and whatnot. So I love hearing that stuff, man. Is there a way someone could contact you if they do decide to interpret your dream? An email or any other way people can get?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm on Reddit as Maxime Tunes. That's my name, Maxime, Maxeem, as in mountain. Mm-hmm. Tunes, Toons. So if you want to just message me, or descentunderground@gmail.com. Okay. Just like how it's spelled, all one word, no underscore or anything.
Awesome, dude. Max, thank you so much for your time, man. It was really cool hearing your dream and talking to you.
Thank you, Mason. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, great. I hope to hear more of your shows to come.
I hope so, man. That would be the dream. All right, folks. That's going to do it for episode 4. I want to thank you if you made it this far for listening, and I got to thank Max for sharing his story. If it wasn't for folks like Max, this show wouldn't exist. Just FYI, if you've made it this far, there are no more stories for the rest of the episode, so if you turn it off, I'm not going to be mad at you. So sleep tip number 1 is exercise in the morning. I know this is easier said than done, but I think if you can come up with some type of routine, it'll benefit you in the long run. It's supposed to reduce stress and help you get to sleep better. Me personally, I like to get up in the morning. I go to the gym on my days off. Earlier, the better. I usually shoot around like 7 or 8. One study that I found said 7 a.m. was the golden number, a study done by the Appalachian State University. But I'll do a sauna for like 45 minutes, alternating getting out to take a cold shower, and then I'll swim. Any type of exercise I think is good, even if it's like stretching for like 10-15 minutes in the morning before work. Tip number 2 is get your room cool when you're trying to go to sleep. According to sleep.org, you should aim for a temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Just get it cool. If you don't have an AC, go buy an AC. It'll be well worth it to get a good night's sleep. If you've ever tried to fall asleep in a hot room, it's absolutely terrible. It's the worst. Tip number 3 is to try to make a consistent schedule of falling asleep at the same time and waking up at the same time. It's easier said than done, but if you can limit your alcohol intake and your caffeine intake during the day, you're going to have a much better chance of doing that. It just helps your body to get in a routine. Tip number 4, and there's nothing special about these. I mean, if you do a quick Google search, you'll be able to find all sorts of tips on how to get to sleep. These are more or less of just what I'm trying to incorporate in my sleep schedule. And 4 would be less blue screen before bed. I'm going to take baby steps with this one and start with an hour and slowly make my way towards 2 hours of no blue screen before bed. Again, I'm not an expert. These are just the things that I'm going to be working on personally. I encourage you to do your own research and find kind of a routine that works for you. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks again for listening. You can find out more on all social media at All Aboard the Dream Train, all one word. You can also email me, allaboardthedreamtrain@gmail.com. Go check out the website, allaboardthedreamtrain.com. Shout out to producer Trent Taylor for the background music. Producer Trent Taylor _ on Instagram and on iTunes. If you're in Portland, he's going to be playing at Church Bar PDX on August 5th. Go check him out. And if you or someone you know wants to share their story, tell them to reach out. I'm always down to record. And I hope you have a good night. Get some sleep.
It's creative, it's candid, it's controversial. But how much does the music dictate real life? And how much does real life dictate the music?